God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Okay, bear with me for a little bit. They're telling me you can hear me, but they can't get people online can't hear me. All of the Israel God location is online today. Okay? Now, I'm good now? Okay, all right. I was going to give everybody a salary so I could fire you. Okay, let's go into Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Read verses 13 and 14. Okay, read it.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Now let's go into Revelation chapter 22, verses 14 and 15. 22, verses 14 and 15. Read it.
Okay, let me get that, brother. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter into the gates into the city. For without are dogs, sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Now, sisters and brothers, like I always said, the commandments is what you have to keep if you intend to get eternal life on the good side of God's kingdom. Because they're messing up, so people have gotten to the point now, going to church is a fashion show. But you come here We're going to teach you how to save yourself. Whether you use it or not is on you. Now, before I call in the name, I want to make a correction. Like last week I said that if Adam had not sinned, there would not have been a lake of fire. I was wrong. The lake of fire was made for Satan and his angels. So no matter what Adam did, the lake of fire would have been there, okay? We just going to mess around. I ain't going to say we. Some of y'all going to mess around and get in there. We going to get into this lesson, sisters and brothers. Title of this lesson is The Destruction and Restoration of Israel. The destruction and restoration of Israel. We as a people, God gave us the opportunity to be the top people on the planet. Had we done what he said, well, we wouldn't be sitting here, and we would not have any kind of problem because we would be calling the shots in the world. In fact, if we had done what we were supposed to, well, no, God gave us 7 days, so we had to serve that. But if we had done what we were supposed to do, this could have been a utopia, sisters and brothers. But we're going to start this in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, because sometimes it looks like we harp on this a lot, but I'm going to tell you something. When I look at the behavior of these Hebrew Israelites, I say we can't harp on this enough. And I'm starting to look at I look at YouTube and I'm looking at a lot of the other preachers, and I'm telling you, I'm talking about Sunday preachers that don't know that they're Israel, and they scare me, sisters and brothers, because it looks like nobody believes in God, and that is really frightening. And because of misbehaving, the world is where it is. So we're going to start this at 28 and verse 1. For the Lord gave Israel a chance to be, for a better word, the man. Verse 1, go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Now, what commandments? The one that we read every Sabbath day, sisters and brothers, which ain't nothing wrong with. All we had to do was keep these commandments, which are not hard, sisters and brothers, because it's not hard not to steal, kill, commit adultery, especially when we was a nation, when we had everything. We had big farms, had plenty of cattle, plenty of everything. We had no need for nothing. And the Lord told you, if you do this, I'm going to make you the top people on earth. Go ahead.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
Go ahead.
If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
Blessed shall thou be in the city. And blessed shall thou be in the field.
Go ahead.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body.
Go ahead.
And the fruit of thy ground. And the fruit of thy cattle. The increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep.
So the Lord is telling you you're blessed no matter where you are, whether you're a city or country. Your children are going to be blessed. Your livestock is going to be blessed. Everything that's connected to you is going to be blessed. And the rest of the people will recognize you as the people of God. Skip down to verse 10. Verse 10 and read it.
And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee.
So you won't have nobody shooting your sons and your daughters. You won't have nobody abusing anybody that's a part of Israel, because they be afraid of the God of Israel, because we are called by his name, sisters and brothers. All we have to do is keep the commandment. Skip down to verse 12. Verse 12 and go ahead.
And the Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain upon the land in his season,
Uh-huh.
and to bless all the work of thy hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Can you imagine us being the financiers of the whole world? We can't even finance our the fees for our children going to high school. But he said, but we would be the financiers of the whole world. We would lend to all nations, and nobody would have to loan to us because we would have it. These are big things that we could have had. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt be above only.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt not be beneath.
Go ahead.
If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them.
Now, these commandments that we read every Sabbath, had you done this, he said that you would be on top. You would be the head of everything. And he used the word, you would be the head only. That means you will never find yourself even second class, no matter what went down. You would have been the one that everybody had to look to. But we didn't listen. So we're going to drop the other shoe. Skip down to verse 15. Verse 15, and go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes,
go ahead,
which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, if you don't do what I tell you, keep my commandments, now all these curses going to come upon you. Go ahead and read.
Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Go ahead.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
In other words, cursed shall be everything that's affiliated with you. Everything around you, your children are going to be cursed. Things just going to go bad for you as a people. And a lot of times you as an individual. What verse was that?
That was 18. We stopped.
Did you finish it?
Yes.
Skip down to verse 25 and go ahead.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them.
Go ahead.
And flee 7 ways before them.
Thou
shalt be removed unto all the kingdoms of the earth.
Now, he said you're going to be smitten among your enemies. Look, when Israel was pleased God, I don't care if it was 20,000 against 300, Israel won. No matter what it is. To let you know that he is going to fight for you. This same God sent one angel out and killed 185,000 Assyrians. One angel. What do you think he could do if he unleashed 2 or 3? He could take down the whole planet. As long as Israel was pleasing the Lord, sisters and brothers. He said, but if you don't, you're going to go out among your enemies and you're going to scatter, and he is going to remove you into every kingdom of the earth. And that's where we are right now. Skip down to verse 28 and go ahead.
The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness.
Now you're going to be angry all the time. You're going to be mad and you're going to be astounded all the time. And you're going to grope at noonday like you would in dark. You know what grope means? You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. In my era, we did all the sitting in. We did all the marching. And we did all of what they're doing is what they're doing, trying to do now. Protesting and everything. We did all of that. But when you really look at it, haven't much changed. Just the other day, they passed a lynching law, no lynching law. You think that's going to stop somebody from hurting you? Why should you have to pass a law anyway to protect us? But the Lord dropped this thing on us. What verse?
We're in the middle of 29.
Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
Uh-huh.
And no man shall save thee.
And ain't nobody going to save you. People going to kill you and get away with it. But go ahead and read.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Now, all of this stuff has happened to us, sisters and brothers. All of it. Since we've been in this country, and it's gone in a whole lot of other places. In fact, this entire American hemisphere, from the Virgin Islands to the Bahamas to here to Canada, all the blacks that are here, sisters and brothers, was brought here as slaves. This haven't happened to nobody else. In fact, think about it. We're the only people in this entire hemisphere that was brought here as slaves. But nobody lays at the heart. Nobody thinks about it. And you tell me to betroth the wife? When you was a slave, your master could do anything he wanted with your wife, and you couldn't do nothing about it. Planted vineyard, planted crops. But somebody else reaped the proceeds of them. Skip now to verse 36. Verse 36 and go ahead.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Go ahead.
And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
And that's what we're doing right now. I don't know the God of Easter. I don't know the God of Christmas. I don't know about the God that's going to take you off into heaven. I don't know about him. I only know about the God of Israel. That's what our fathers knew about. But all the gods we serve, and the God of Sunday, we didn't know about this God, which was around way before Jesus' resurrection. Go ahead and read.
37. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
Now, whether you here or whether you on the African continent, everybody got some little pet name to call you. That's an astonishment, and people are always astonished. How can them people live like that? Byword. You know all them little animal names they call you, and the N-word and all them other things? Like I told a brother one time when I was in service, he's going to tell me, well, you know, a brother, well, I'm going to go to the John. I said, do you know what you're saying, man? John was a brother, and I'm going to go, and the master said, we're going to go crap on him. You understand? So every time you say, I'm going to go to the John, that's what you're saying. But we don't know where all of these little things come from, sisters and brothers. We just don't know. Skip now to verse 41 and go ahead. Verse 41. Go ahead.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
And that's what's happening. You tell me, I laugh every time I hear somebody talking about one of us talking about our family tree. You don't know where your family tree going to lead at. They used to breed you like cattle and sell you. You understand? You don't have a clue. I don't even try. Well, you know, I track my family. I look at them and I just laugh. Go ahead and read.
All thy trees and the fruit of thy land shall the locust consume.
Uh-huh.
The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt come down very low.
Now, see, when Israel come out of Egypt, it was a mixed multitude. Because the Lord is talking to Israel right now before they got into the land. He said, a stranger that's among you going to come up very high and you're going to come down very low, sisters and brothers. That means he didn't name a people. Whoever was around, they're going to excel you. And that's what's going on even in this country, sisters and brothers. Look at what's going on. Who's handling all the gardens and the shrubbery, what they call it, horticulture, what they deal with it? Who's handling that in the city? You understand? Who is doing all the plumbing for you? Where do you go to sell your cars to buy your cars from? Where do you go to borrow money from? All this is from among the strangers that's among you. But go ahead and read. What verse?
44.
Mm-hmm.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
Go ahead.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
When the last time you made a house payment, loaned somebody some money to pay a house? Or you backed a car payment payment? When the last time you did that? When we lend, I might lend Brother Bray you being $10, but he better pay me by Monday, or I ain't going to be able to buy something. So this thing is reversed. Everything that the Lord said He's going to give us, if He said, if you don't keep my laws, I'm going to turn it on you. It's going to flip. Go ahead and read.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee.
Go ahead.
And shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
To keep His commandments and His statutes which He commanded thee.
Now, if you got in trouble for not keeping them, then what make you think that you can break them and still get away with it? Think about it. Go ahead and read.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
That's what I tell people now, a sign and a wonder. Wonder why it happened, and then what's the sign do? Sign identify. Brother asked me one time, well, how do you know that we are the real Hebrew Israelites? I said, the Lord said that Israel was going to go into captivity by ships, and when they get there, they're going to be sold. Can you tell me who did that happen now to in this hemisphere? Please tell me. Once you find out who that happened to, you just put your finger on Israel. That's so simple. Go ahead and read. 47. Skip down to verse 63. Verse 63. And go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off your land, whether thou goest to possess it. And
we sure was swept off. We ain't there, are we? Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even to the other. And there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Go ahead.
Even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
Now you ain't gonna find no ease among these nations. No matter where you are, there's always something happening to you. There's always something that don't happen to nobody else, but it's happening to you. Even if you're supposed to have so-called rights. Go ahead.
Neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart.
Scatter everything. Scatter police. Scatter your own children. Scared when night comes. Go ahead and read.
And failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
And your life shall hang in balance. Who's the most likely to get killed? You are. You understand? Well, I'm going to escape the police. You can't escape the young thug in your neighborhood. Look what's going on. You can't even drive on the expressway. You might get shot. Go to the supermarket. You might get shot. Better not go out to some nightclub. You will get shot. And your life is hanging in balance. You don't have no assurance of your life. I mean, you simply do not. Skip now to verse 6 to 8 and go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again in ships by the way of I spake unto thee.
Ship. That means that Egypt to us mean a house of bondage. God told you in other scripture that you ain't gonna never, in Hosea, you ain't gonna never go back to Egypt as a people. So to us, it is bondage. the house of bondage. So he's going to bring you into slavery again, because he said all over the world. Egypt is not all over the world. He's going to bring you into slavery again in ships. How did you get here? In the hulls of ships. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt see it no more again. And there shall ye be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So now, what happened to us when we got here, once we got off the ship? We were sold as male and female slaves. Have anybody bought us out of it? See, but the Lord said, if you disobey my commandments, he gave it a blessing and he gave it a curse. Let's see which one we fell under, even though we know now, but we're going to read it anyway. Let's go into Daniel, the 9th chapter. Daniel chapter 9. Because this thing, sisters and brothers, we don't realize this, because I'm going to tell you something. Once you realize who you are and realize what rights you do and don't have, then you would change your behavior, and a lot of things that you suffer, you won't suffer. It's all that simple. Daniel 9 and verse 8. 9 and 8. Okay, read it.
O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings and our princes, to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee.
So we've done that. Skip down to verse 11. Verse 11 and go ahead.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law.
How many? All Israel have transgressed thy law. I mean, this is a joint venture. Go ahead and read.
Even by departing, that they may not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us.
Therefore the curse is poured upon us. Go ahead and read.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
This oath that we just read about. He said, that's fallen upon us. Go ahead and read.
And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us.
Go ahead.
By bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem.
So can't nobody make this claim, can they? They said, he has brought a great evil upon us. The Lord did this. And he said, there ain't nobody else under the sun can say this happened to them but us. We're the only one. And we haven't laid it to heart. Why are we so unique? We don't think about stuff like that, sister and brother. So that lets you know that we have fallen under the curse. It's because we refuse to obey God. And I don't see no change. Let's go into Deuteronomy. Turn right on over to let's go to Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. Deuteronomy chapter 32. And the Lord has structured everything around us, sisters and brothers, but we have not taken that to heart. So we're going to see how the Lord has structured everything around Israel, but Israel ain't paid no attention. That's why the Lord's so mad at us. That's why he did us so bad. Because he made us special and we refused to be special the way he wanted us to be special. Because our job was to bring all of the rest of the sons of Adam back to him. We were too busy into our own thing. Deuteronomy 32, chapter 32, and we're going to start reading at verse 8. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. Okay, go ahead.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He's not when he did that. When he divided the nation and gave them all inheritance, he set the bounds of the nations according to the number of the children of Israel. What? The 12 tribes. That's why you have 12 months in a year, sisters and brothers. That you have 12 and 12, 24 hours in a day. That's why when the Lord come, he picked 12 apostles. Everything is according to the number of the children of Israel. And when you understand it in other lessons during the creation, we will show you from the day that the Lord created light until the end of the millennium period is going to be 12,000 years. It's going to be more than just, that. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be 12 days. But then that's another lesson. Everything he said according to the number of the children of Israel. Go ahead and read.
9th verse. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Go ahead.
He found him in a desert land and in a waste island wilderness.
Go ahead.
He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
He did all that and kept Israel as the apple of his eye. Skip down to verse 15 and go ahead.
But Joshua 1 waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat. Thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God which made him and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
So when Israel started living good and everything was at his fingertip, he forgot that it was given to him. He started thinking, shoot, I've gotten this because of my own labor and my own intellect. Then you kicked against the God that gave it to you. Go ahead and read.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger.
And they say provoke him with strange gods, and people are still doing it. Go ahead and read.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to God.
Go ahead.
The gods whom they knew not. The new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
Go ahead.
Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee.
That's what happened in Israel when we start doing well. I even notice that now. When some of us start doing well and increasing, we get worse. And that's the way it is. We humble and everything, long as we struggling trying to make it, we get up and start doing good, we become narcissists. Everything is us. We're in love with us. Everybody else ain't nothing. Israel got the way that with his God. We have not changed. We have not changed. What verse? Go ahead.
19.
And
when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them.
Wait a minute. There's people say God don't hate. He loves everybody. What does abhor mean? That's strong hate, ain't it? Go ahead and read.
Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
These are his children. He adopted Israel and gave them his name. But still they run off to other gods. Go ahead and read.
And he said, I will hide my face from them.
I'm going to hide my face from them. Go ahead.
And I will see what their end shall be.
But
they are a forward generation, a very forward generation, children in whom is no faith.
So I'm going to hide my face. I'm going to see what they're going to do now. Without me, I'm going to see what their end going to be. You got to put a good glimpse of it, don't you? Skip down to verse 23. Verse 23 and go ahead.
I will heap mischief upon them. I will spin mine arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with a burning heat and with bitter destruction.
Boy, the Lord said he's going to do all this. And ain't this what's happening to us? We are in trouble all the time. Read down, jump down to verse 26 and go ahead.
And I said, I would scatter them in the corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
Now, we as a people, who know who you are? Don't nobody remember you. You can't even remember, don't nobody remember when you was a powerful nation because you got somebody else to say that they're you. That's why the Lord put it in my mind to do the Black History series every year. It's because the only history that we ever knew started when we started getting on the slave ships and getting off in America. That's the only history we knew about. George Washington Carver. Underground Railroad. All this was slavery, sister. Because God said, I'm going to cause the memory of you to cease from among me. So, you used to be a Negro. You used to be Afro-American. Then you were just black. and now you're African America. You're none of those people. Because he said he's going to make the memory of you to cease from among men. Let's go into Jeremiah, the 15th chapter. Because the Lord brought Israel down, sisters and brothers. The Lord did this. That's why I don't have nothing against no people. The Lord said he would rejoice over you to do evil. Didn't we read that? He would. Just like he would rejoice over you to do good. So you're dealing with the God of the creation, the God of Israel, the one whose name you wear. And he is mad because you went to other gods and he hurt you for it. And we still got some more pain coming. It's not over with. I hear foolish people running around, I ain't under nobody's, I ain't under no curse. I ain't under bondage to nobody. I said, well, okay then, drive your car without a license. Go fishing without a license. Just decide to get your own gun that you bought with your own money and go out in the backyard of your house and shoot your gun in the air. They come and lock you up or find a weapon in the city. And if you got a gun, you better have a license for it. Why? Because the Lord said it's going to happen to you because you wouldn't do what I say. Jeremiah 15, and we're going to start at verse 1. Jeremiah 15 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me,
go ahead.
Yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth.
Now, he said, though Moses and Samuel, these was two straight up righteous men. He said, even though they come from among these people, still my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go?
Where are we going? Go ahead.
Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
And such as are for death to death.
Let them die. Go ahead.
And such as are for the sword to the sword.
Much of them killed by the sword or whatever weapon it represents, let them do it. Go ahead and read.
And such as are for the famine to the famine. And such as are for the captivity to the captivity.
Go ahead.
And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy.
The Lord said, I'm going to point these over you. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to kill you like flies. Everywhere you find yourself, your life don't mean nothing. We're just talking about this hemisphere. But look what the Hutu did to the Tutsis. Look what the Nigerians did to the Biafrans. Look what the Ethiopians did to the Falashas. And I can go on and on and on. I have a book that's titled Israel in Africa and America. That's why the Tutsis appeal to the Europeans and America to please stop the Africans from killing the Israelites. He said, that's where you're going to go, wherever you'll find yourself. This is going to befall you. Go ahead and read.
And I will cause them to be removed unto all the kingdoms of the earth. Because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, kings of Judah, for which he did in Jerusalem.
You should go and read about this guy. This guy really made Jerusalem sin. I mean, big time. Go ahead and read.
For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall aside to ask thee how thou doest?
Look, don't nobody care. Who gonna have pity on you? Who gonna mourn for your grief that we've come? Who gonna turn aside and ask you how you doing and really want to help you? It just ain't gonna happen. They gave the Japanese reparations. They gave the American Indians parts of land and let them build casinos, and they live in big time. They even gave the people that call themselves Jews reparation, and they didn't suffer here. They suffer in Germany and other parts of Europe. You planted the fields, you built the house, even the White House. You finished that. You didn't know that? Got all kind of inventions. Got blood plasma. We invented that. And we have labored. Where is your reparation? Keep reading.
6th verse. Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord.
Uh-huh.
Thou art gone backward.
Go ahead.
Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee
Uh-huh.
and destroy thee. I am weary with repentance.
The Lord said, I am tired of repenting. I done sent my prophets to you over and over and over. And every time you get in trouble, you cry out to me, I'll deliver, repent of the evil that I done brought on you, and I will go and deliver you. Soon as you start doing well, you go back to doing the same thing. Dealing with pagan gods, abusing yourself. You didn't know? You should look at this Manasseh. This cat filled Jerusalem with blood. This man killed his own people like flies. Serve Baal. Serve every pagan god you can. And ain't nothing happened. So the Lord said, I done repented enough. I'm tired of repenting. So what the Lord was this that said? This was Jesus, sister and brother. So he knew what was going to happen. Let's go on to Luke, the 19th chapter. Luke chapter 19. But we don't bother to read this book. What we do is we come up with our own story. That's what I'm looking now. I'm looking at all these preachers. And I'm going to tell you something. The biggest mouth tell the biggest lie. And they don't have a clue of what thus said the Lord. I mean, not even a clue. But Jesus was the one, so I'm going to do this to you. And let's see what's going to happen. Luke 19, and we're going to start reading at verse 41. Luke 19 and verse 41. Okay, go ahead.
And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it.
So when Jesus was coming near Jerusalem, he looked at it and he started crying. You understand? Because he knew what was going to happen, because he's the one that called it. So he couldn't reverse it because he can't lie. So he started crying. Go ahead and read.
Saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day,
go ahead,
the things which belong unto thy peace.
Uh-huh.
But now are they hid from thine eyes.
If you'd only known. If you had only paid attention to what you could have done to have peace. But now it's hid from your eyes. You don't know what to do now. Go ahead and read.
For the day shall come upon thee, that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee.
Go ahead.
And compass thee round.
Uh-huh.
And keep thee in on every side. And shall lay thee even with the ground.
He says, so the day going to come when your enemy going to surround you. They're going to cast a trench around you. They're going to keep you on every side. And they are going to lay you even with the ground. In other words, they're going to totally destroy you. Go ahead and read.
And thy children within thee.
Uh-huh.
And they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another.
Go ahead.
Because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
He said they're not going to lay one stone upon another. I mean, they're going to tear Jerusalem down. See, the 9 tribes have already been scattered. But this is talking about Jerusalem here. And let's see when this happened. This happened in 70 A.D. We got history on it. And who did it? This is Atlas of the Bible. Go ahead and read it.
In 68, the Romans commander launched a Methodist campaign to isolate Jerusalem, the district of Perea, east of Jordan, and was conquered. And West Eminence was taken and a legion garrison there. Entering to Jordan Valley from the north through Kasra, Roman Catholicism took Jericho, and where a second garrison was situated.
Now skip down to the one that had a pencil around it. That's what I want. I want you to read it all.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The overthrow and suicide of the Emperor Nero brought operations in Judea to a temporary halt.
That's when the Romans was attacking Judea now in 7 A.D. Go ahead and read.
And Vespasian prudently withdrew to test the imperial winds. Eventually, he himself was declared emperor.
Everybody know who Vespasian is if you have any kind of education. He was the one that was leading the attack against Jerusalem, but when Nero died, he went back to Rome to become emperor, and he eventually did become emperor. But go ahead. But he left his son. Go ahead.
Sailing for Rome in the spring of 70, he left his capable son, Titus, in charge of the campaign against Jerusalem.
So he left Titus, his son, which was a Roman general, in charge of the campaign against Jerusalem. That's when they was taking Jerusalem down. Go ahead and read.
That was it.
But skip down to the bottom now.
Okay.
And continue.
He said the walls enclosed the temple and the upper lower cities were the most formidable barriers of all.
Let me read this because
I can't see it, man.
Because you can't see. I forgot about that. I'm gonna read this. It said, "Now look, for the walls enclosing the temple and the upper and lower cities were the most formidable barriers of all. Postponing it all out assault, Titus turned to starvation tactics. A certain amount of food had been struggled into the city almost nightly during the siege. But now the Romans sealed Jerusalem completely with the wall of their own, made of earth and in some 5-mile circumference. In other words, they dug ground and built them a levee all around Jerusalem, like Jesus said that they were going to cast a trench around Jerusalem, and they were going to lay it in with the ground. Okay, I'm going to continue. From the outset of the siege, those attempted to get through and encircle the line had been caught and crucified. Sometime the daily execution reached to 500, and the crosses would never bear. Inside the city, starvation, disease claimed many, and it was a mountain toll. The bodies filled the streets and were stacked in houses. Thousands of corpses were thrown from the walls into the valleys below. This, a lot of killing was going on. And the Romans was crucifying up to 500 Jews a day. 500, that's a whole lot. That's why we call the cross that the people wear on their neck. It's a Roman death symbol. It has nothing to do with Christ. Okay, the surviving rebels made a last-ditch stand within Herod's palace. The battering rams resumed their rhythm work when the legionnaires at last broke into this refuge. They found only corpses. Herod's palace and the rest of the upper city was put to torch, and Jerusalem was the city of the dead. So what the Romans did, they dug a trench around Israel and made a levee around Judah. So couldn't nobody come in to bring food, and couldn't nobody sneak out. And they was crucified up to 500 Jews a day. And you only know about Jesus and the two thieves. And when they got through, Jerusalem was destroyed. But before they did, sisters and brothers, before that happened, the Lord warned Israel. He warned Israel. Let's go into Luke chapter 21. See, He couldn't stop it, but he gave him a warning. Wouldn't nobody listen to the warning? Because he couldn't stop what he had already said was going to happen. Luke 21, and we're going to start reading at verse 20. Luke 21 and verse 20. And Jesus let you know when to get out of Jerusalem. Verse 20, go ahead.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
So he was telling them, now when you see Jerusalem surrounded with armies, know it's about to be destroyed. So do what? Go ahead and read.
Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains.
Go ahead.
And let them which are in the midst of it depart out.
Go ahead.
And let not them that are in the countries enter therein too.
So if you're in it, get out. If you're in the countries, don't come back in trying to sneak food in, because they tried that and they got caught. Go ahead.
For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
See, prophets spoke of these. So Jesus said, these be the days of the fulfillment of prophecy. Go ahead and read.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
And he said, woe to the ones that are pregnant and have little children that got to run, because it's going to be great distress to the land and wrath upon this people. That's the people of Judah. Go ahead and read.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
Go ahead.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
And they're going to fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. Go ahead and read.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
And the time of Jerusalem is going to be trodden down to the Gentiles. They're the ones that installed the people over there. They call themselves Jews. And you got a lot of them that was converted to Judaism that's over there. But Jerusalem is going to be trodden down until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And that fulfillment ain't going to stop. It's not going to be until Jesus comes, sisters and brothers. Now we're going to read this. I'm going to read this myself. I ain't going to even let him start out on it.
I got you.
You got it? Okay, all right. Well, we're going to show you that happened. Read the title first. Go ahead and read.
Faith survivors of the dispersion.
The
crucifixion of Jesus about AD 30 did not end Jewish resistance to the Roman occupation.
Go ahead.
In 70, when the country was again in a state of revolt, Jerusalem, the holy city, became the core of the resistance to the Romans.
Go ahead.
Titus, son of Emperor Vespasian, proceeded to lay siege to Jerusalem. The city fell, the inhabitants were enslaved in their thousands and dispersed throughout the Mediterranean world.
Now, when Titus, the ones that Titus didn't kill, they captured and they was enslaved and they were scattered throughout the Mediterranean world. You know what the Mediterranean world is? Africa and Europe. Got the Mediterranean Sea. North of the Mediterranean Sea is Europe, and south of Africa, sister and brother. And that's where they found us. It's just like we're going to show you the Jews that knew that they was Jews. Put me the picture up there of the Jews in Timbuktu. Put it up there. See what the title says? As the Islamic threat repelled, spotlight hits the Jews of Mali, the fabled Timbuktu. See, these people knew that they were Jews. You understand? Even to this day. And all of us that was brought over here was not ignorant of who we were. But the Gentiles put a cap on us. You understand? And as far as the people are saying, you know, I'm African American, I want you to read something here. You can take that down and put up this clip here about from the dictionary, the new compact Zondervan dictionary. I want you to put up, and we're going to read what it says concerning the children of Ham here. History book, Zondervan's compact Bible dictionary. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. Not the Negroes. So if you didn't come out of Ham, that means you ain't no African American, don't it? Where did you come from? You come out of Israel. You didn't come from Africa, sisters and brothers. You went through Africa. Titus scattered you all over and put you in southern Africa. That's why the Africans, the Hamites, were selling you because you was not them. They would have you think that the Gentiles, the whites, went over there with their big guns and the swords and they raped African. They went over there with money and they went with beads and trinkets and they bought you from the people that looked like you, but they were not you. That's why I don't call myself an African American. But the whole thing, sisters and brothers, the Lord is the one that did this to us. The Lord did. So I don't dislike a Hamite. I don't dislike a Gentile. Had we done right, thing would have been good for everybody. But the Lord is the one that sold us into this thing. Let's go into Psalms chapter 44. 44th Psalm. Because we are innocent in everything. And we point out and we are mad at everybody. You know, it's just like having a sore on your leg. If you don't acknowledge it, no, my arm is sore. The sore on your leg is going to get worse, ain't it? The Lord tell you to acknowledge your transgressions and the transgressions of your father. He told us to do that, sisters and brothers, but we don't listen. Now, we're running around mad at everybody but us. And no matter what we do, we mad. Young boy come out and carjack you and you see that's because the Gentile wouldn't give him a job. Break in your house. Well, you know, if he had a career, he wouldn't be breaking in your house. Everybody that's doing stuff to you live next door to you. Not the Gentiles ain't doing nothing to us. They are our sisters and brothers, but we're doing it to ourselves too. But who did this to us? Our God. Psalm 44 and verse 1. 44 and 1. Okay, read it.
We have heard with our ears, O God. Our fathers have told us what work thou didst in their days in the times of old.
These our fathers told us what you did. They told us that you did good things for us. Go ahead and read.
How thou didst drive out the heathen with thy hand and plantest them.
Go ahead.
How thou didst afflict the people and cast them out.
See now, our fathers told us all this good thing. He threw out the Canaanites and gave the land to us. He even gave us whole villages with houses built, with crops and everything. We didn't even have to raise no crops. We just went in there and started eating and sit down. Skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
But thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goest not forth with thy armies.
But now you've done that to us. What you did to them, now God, you done turned around and did that to us. But God told you, if you go in there and do the same thing that they did, the land's going to spew you out. Go ahead and read.
Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy, and they which hate us spoil for themselves.
Go ahead.
Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen.
And that's what he's done. Ain't that correct? We just like sheep. Anybody do whatever they want and whatever continent they find us at. Go ahead and read.
Thou settest thy people for naught, and does not increase their wealth by their price.
So we're sold, but God ain't getting rich from it. Go ahead and read.
Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, and a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us.
So don't nobody want to be around you. You're a reproach to them. You move in, they move out. Go ahead.
Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people.
You know, they got all them pet names on when all they do when they see us just shake their head. Boy, this is some pitiful people. That's all they do. Nothing good. You think, well, you know, things will change. Things haven't changed. They just got more smoother with it. Let's go into Zechariah the 11th chapter. Zechariah chapter 11. We have some genuine people among the Gentiles that have done good things for us, sisters and brothers.
Yes, yes.
But the thing about it is, God have a certain thing that he going to collect, and he going to collect every dime of it. Zechariah 11, and let's start at verse 1. Zechariah 11 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour the cedars.
The Lebanon's talking about Jerusalem, sisters and brothers. Let the fire devour the cedar. Who are the cedars? That's us. Go ahead.
How fair tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the mighty are spoiled.
Go ahead.
How ye oaks of Bashan, for the force of the vintage is come down.
So we were the mighty at that time. God had us spoiled. So he done brought us down. Go ahead and read.
There's a voice of howling of the shepherds for their glorious spoil, a voice of the roaring of young lions for the pride of Jordan is spoil.
That's because he said, I'm going to take you down. I'm through repenting. I'm bringing you down. Go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord my God. Feed the flock of the slaughter.
Feed the flock of the slaughter. That's what we are now. Go ahead and read.
Whose possessors slay them.
And those that kill us, go ahead.
And hold themselves not guilty.
And don't even feel guilty about it. You know, like they passed this bill about lynching. Finally, you know, that started when they killed Emmett Till. I remember that, sister and brother. A little 14-year-old boy smoked a whistle at some grown white folks. They went to his grandfather's house and took him out and killed him ugly and threw him in the river. I said, boy, he had a weird grandfather. They might have shot me after I got through shooting at them, but ain't no way I was going to give up my grandson. But we were so afraid of the Gentile and to take him. They ain't going to do nothing to him. Come on, the boy 14. But the whole thing, he said, look, our possessors slay us and find themselves guilty. Don't find them and don't think that they've done anything wrong. Go ahead.
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
And everybody got a rich offer, but we ain't getting no reparation. And our own preachers don't pity us. You know why? Because they will not teach us the truth. Everybody out there getting rich, they do not care. So we are a chosen nation of priests that have no idea.
Your son.